All right, so shalom everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday night Torah study. We're going to begin, as we always do, with taking up praise reports and prayer requests. If you have one, go ahead and raise your hand or type it in, and we will go through those. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm looking forward to tonight's study. It should be very entertaining, very exciting, very enlightening, and all the other things that we get out of the weekly Torah studies. Okay, so if you have a prayer request or praise report, go ahead and type it in. Okay, Rachel J, praise the whole family's feeling pretty healthy. Lots of viruses this year. Leslie, all praise to Yah for continuing blessings. Unspoken prayer request, please. Okay. The Barneys, John and Ron, and praise report. We are having our 30th wedding anniversary this Sunday. Mazel tov and mazel tov. Awesome. That's just very, very good to hear. Unspoken for Carrie Gephardt. Unspoken for Lorraine and Wilkes-Barre. Let's see, Laura, unspoken. April, unspoken. Alana, unspoken. Fred, pray that I become fully focused on Yahweh. Alicia and Matthew, unspoken. Fred and Barbara, please praise Yah. Fred was very sick last week, but is fine right now. All right. And hi to you down there in Florida, Fred. Fred and Barbara. Let's see, Sam Davidson, pray for Rick's mom. She needs full-time care now. Also, Rick's job has become very stressful and is under new management. Okay, we can do that. Sam, was good having you in the meeting on Sunday. That was good. Rabbi Tom and Rebbetzin Joanne, my number 3 daughter Michelle is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania hospital with her 4th stroke. Wow. You certainly can pray for that. Okay, Tommy and Selena. Still moving to Cleveland. In the last 3 days, we found out Tommy's job won't let him work remote. We found out the contract we had on the house here fell through. We made a new contract with the second best offer. The mold test on the house we had a contract on in Cleveland came back astronomically dangerous, so we declined. We reserved an apartment, and Tommy applied for a bunch of jobs. Target date is still around March 13th, but Tommy may have to remain in Memphis with family or friends until he gets a new job. Okay, well, we certainly appreciate you sharing with us and your continued sticking to your plan to move to Cleveland in spite of the initial, or at least the current adversities that are hopefully going to be short term. Diane from Portland, thank you, Robbie, for talking to me today. Hannah is working hard on her end with the financial aid office. Prayers that I will be able to swiftly sell our car so that I will be able to meet the financial deadlines we are under and get my cat's treatment. Okay, no problem. Then it was my pleasure to be available to help you, Diane. Shira has joined the ranks of car problems as well. It was currently stuck dead in the parking lot over there by MTOI. I don't remember what we got done with it since then. Let's see. Sam says it was good to be at the leaders meeting. It was great to have you there. Hey, Mr. Tony down in Killeen, Texas. Shalom to you, brother. All right, let's see. Ryan, praise Yah for softening our hearts and giving us ears to hear. Olivia and Janet, please pray for our daughter Valentina. She is coughing, not very well, feeling well, very tired. The other kids are better, praise Yah. Also, please protection for travels for Janet for training in Oklahoma. Eilina and the Red Girls, praise that my injured ribs are starting to heal. Prayers for Maurice as he's out driving in this nasty weather, and continued prayers for my health challenges. Tony, prayers for one of my staff who broke her wrist. Prayers needed for a co-worker's father who is in ICU. They are going to take him off of the ventilator with the hopes that he will begin to breathe on his own. Chris and Tiffany, prayer for safe travel as I and Cole head to Cleveland on Thursday night. Yay, and praise Yah. Awesome. Arthur and Linda, prayer for Linda, ill with sinus infection and just not feeling well. Robin and Dorothy, shalom to our Nebraska brothers and sisters. Prayers for the weather will behave so we can get together for Shabbat. Arena, prayer requests for health, car problems, and unspoken. Got a smiley face back from Tony. Rick Berry, shalom everyone. I'm in my vehicle, so listening only tonight. Janice, we'll pray for each other daily. They bring us comfort. Please pray for my family today. It's been a challenge. Yahweh has blessed me with wonderful MTOI sisters. Awesome. Sarah Beth, prayers for neck pain. Oh, that came out weird, Janice. No, we understood you. Kevin K, can't wait for Pesach. Neither can all of us. We're very excited. It's coming. Candace, prayer request, need a ride to Passover and back home again. William and Chantel, prayer for a new vehicle soon. The vehicle we have is running, but we'll need to be replaced soon. More car problems. Abba provides, though. Amen. Yvonne Harding, prayers for my son driving from Myrtle Beach and also some family members sick. Michelle, prayer for health issues and wisdom with some financial decisions. Owen and Evie, praise Abba, the doctor is giving me a referral to surgeon for a circumcision. I'm one step closer. Please pray everything will continue to work well ASAP. And I will ask prayers for all those that are still looking to get circumcised before the Passover. I think that will be be a very exciting time for all those that are making that leap, that commitment. Okay, so I think that's awesome. Okay, let's see. Rick Berry, prayer for good weather as we travel to Cleveland, Tennessee next week. Awesome. Julie, my wife, the Rebbetzin, Shira, sounds like our cars decided to get together. Okay. Yeah, Julie's car is still not working. We're still waiting to get that back. Apparently they had to order a part from Hyundai directly, and I think it's coming all the way from South Korea. I don't know. Okay, Tom and Carmen, prayers for our next door neighbors and a co-worker with challenging health issues. Jean, prayer for me as I recover from the flu. Shira's is still at Beth Shalom. New fuel pump, but still not starting. We suspect bad gas. Hope it's that simple. Would be nice. Eilena and the Reds, also prayers for Maurice's family. His aunt, his mom's twin, is dying of cancer. She's in a coma now and it's not looking well. Prayers that we can be a light during this dark time. Rebbetzin says her car part's coming on a slow boat from China. Maybe not China, maybe South Korea. Okay, Walter and Rachel, unspoken. Yahweh's been so good to our family. I have experienced evidence of the if you, then he will. That's good. Fantastic. Okay. Got over 105 people in the study now. Just waiting on a few more people typing. Stacia, I see the Hazes are signed in. How many people do we have signed up, do you know, for Passover, and how many rooms do we have left? Just curious. $218 signed up now, 30 rooms left. There we go. Glover's, David's best friend, is in the hospital with pancreatitis. Whoops. Prayers for healing, please. Terry and Bobby, all those who are transitioning to the truth of Messiah, for all those hurt in the process of crossing over. Okay, anybody else? Jonathan Thompson, Unspoken. Jonathan, we got your paperwork today. We're looking forward to you being at Passover. Santi Lee, thanks for safe trip from Hong Kong. Pray for providence, wisdom, and an open door for Costa Rica and Panama, leaving on February 26th. Ryan Beaufort, I am new here, but is not true circumcision is that of the heart. Okay, Ryan, you are new here. I don't know how long you've been kind of following along, but circumcision of the flesh and the heart were both always required. Okay, it's Christianity that has misrepresented that this is a new thing. Circumcision of heart is written in the Old Testament as well, many places. So it's always been both. Okay, there has not been a change. Yahweh does not change. When he says something is right, it's right. When he says it's wrong, it's wrong. Okay, that's just my short answer to that. I think we may record a short video that deals with that at some point here prior to Passover to help out with those questions. Ryan, just keep asking your questions. It's okay, brother. Those questions. Ryan, just keep asking your questions. It's okay, brother. We welcome new people. Okay. Tom and Carmen, praise report. Our granddaughter's 14th birthday is tomorrow. Awesome. Jonathan wants to praise Abba that Pesach is a go. That's just terrific. That's fabulous. We're excited about that. Okay, I guess that's going to cover it for the praises and prayers. Let's go ahead and get one of the men to go ahead and raise their hand and open us in prayer. All right, let's see. Okay, Chuck, we are not hearing you. There may be a technical difficulty going on there. Okay, let's go with Mark. I think, Mark, you had your hand up next. Really quickly. Actually, your hand was up first.
Thank you, Rabbi. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, we thank you for just allowing us to be able to come together tonight to study your word as a family. And we thank you for allowing us to come before you with these prayers and praises. And we look forward expectantly to how you are going to take care of all of these things. And just thank you for helping us to get your desire foremost in our lives and to walk it out before you in a way that is pleasing to you and honorable to you. Thank you and bless you in Yeshua's authority. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Mark. Okay, let's do... All right. Let's play the game, the first game of the night, which is what color shirt am I wearing today? Put the video on. And the winner is black. A little coin scratch for everyone here. Okay. We got the black shirt on today. Turn that off. Oh, I didn't give everybody a wave. I missed the whole point. I scratched the beard, never waved. Let's go ahead and wave real quick here. There we go. Jonathan Thompson said, did I say blue? I meant to type black. Good. Well played, Jonathan. All right. Michael Norwood, did you get the right color one more time? Good for you, brother. All right. For anybody new and you don't understand about the scratching of a beard with a coin, well, we'll explain it later or that kind of thing. Okay. Sam David says, I need to get a coin and a beard. That's good. Okay, Rabbi Tom says, I should have worn blue so he could win. Well, I didn't get your text. All right. And Manny guessed right. He was at work today wearing the black shirt as well. So he was all set with that. Might have had it fixed. Can I do my check? Go ahead. Nope, still nothing. Yeah, I'll wear tie-dye and then everybody wins. What? And what is the story of the guess the shirt color game? Well, it actually started with, I think Michael Norwood wore the same color shirt with me almost every day at Sukkot. And so, I don't know how it started, but somewhere along the way with that. Of course, those of you that guess red are not privy to the fact that I ruined my red shirt, so I don't have a red shirt. But now that I've said that, I may get a new red shirt and mess you all up, but I don't have a red one at the moment. Okay. Manny Michelle, I win. Well, you did have the black shirt on today, so you did well. All right, now. Okay, Chuck, you can put your hand down. All right, so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go through the Torah portion, Ki Tisa, which is Exodus 30, verse 11 to 34, 35. Ki Tisa. I do appreciate those that stepped up and did the Torah portion last week while I was not available. So it's Ki Tisa, and I have 9 readers. What does Ki Tisa mean? When you take. Okay, when you take. Excellent. Ki Tisa, when you take. All right, so I've got 9 readers. Raise your hands for the 9 readers. What we'll do is I'll call on each reader one at a time, and when I call on you, I will read a short blessing, a traditional blessing over each of the readers, and then I'll let you know what verses you're going to read. And after you finish reading, please not only mute your mic, but also put your hand back down so I won't get confused as to who to call on next. But we do have 9 readings. Each reading's about 10 to 15 or 18 verses, depending. I tried to break it up so that they're semi-complete thoughts. Okay? After we do the readings, there will be some announcements, and then we'll do a discussion of the Torah portion. That should happen a little bit after 9 o'clock. It takes about 30 minutes to read the Torah portion, a little less. And so we'll go through that in that order there. All right, so it looks like I've got 7 readers. So I'm going to need about 2 more. Okay, let's begin with Rabbi Tom. Rabbi Tom will go first. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Rabbi Tom, who's come up to honor Yahweh and the Torah. Let his set apart one bless him and his family, and send blessings and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Rabbi Tom's going to take us from chapter 30. We're in Exodus, chapter 30, verses 11 through 24.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, when you take the census of the children of Israel to register them, then each one shall give an atonement for his life to Yahweh, when you register them, so that there is no plague among them when you register them. Every one among those who are registered is to give this half shekel according to the shekel of the set-apart place, 20 gerahs being a shekel. The half shekel is the contribution to Yahweh. Everyone passing over to be registered from 20 years old and above gives a contribution to Yahweh. The rich does not give more, and the poor does not give less than half a shekel when you give a contribution to Yahweh to make atonement for yourselves. And And you shall take the silver for the atonement from the children of Israel, and give it for the service of the tent of appointment. And it shall be to the children of Israel for a remembrance before Yahweh, to make atonement for yourselves. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, And you shall make a basin of bronze with its stand, also of bronze for washing. And you shall put it between the tent of appointment and the slaughter place, and shall put water in it. And Aharon and his sons shall wash from it their hands and their feet. When they go up into the tent of appointments, or when they come near the slaughter place to attend, to burn an offering made by fire to Yahweh, then they wash with water, lest they die. And they shall wash their hands and their feet, lest they die. And it shall be a law forever to them, to him and his seed throughout their generations. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, And take for yourself choice spices, 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, and half as much, 250 of sweet-smelling cinnamon, and 250 of sweet-smelling cane, and 500 of cassia, according to the shekel of the set-apart place, and a hin.
Amen. Amen. Okay, so thank you, Rabbi Tom. Next up is Mark. You blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. May he bless Mark, who's come up down to Yahweh and the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Mark, you're going to take us now from verse 25 to verse 38, which is the end of the chapter.
And you shall make from these a set-apart anointing oil, a compound, blended, the work of a perfumer. It is a set-apart anointing oil. And with it you shall anoint the tent of appointment and the ark of the witness, and the table and all its utensils, and the lampstand and its utensils, and the slaughter place of incense, and the slaughter place of ascending offering with all its utensils, and the basin and its stand. And you shall set them apart, and they shall be most set apart. Whatever touches them is to be set apart. And you shall anoint Aharon and his sons, and set them apart to serve as priests to me. And speak to the children of Israel, saying, This is a set-apart anointing oil to me throughout your generations. It shall not be poured on the flesh of a man, and make no other like it according to its composition. It is set apart. It is set apart to you. Whoever compounds any like it, or whoever puts any of it on a stranger, shall be cut off from his people. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Take sweet spices, fragrant gum and cinnamon, and galbanum, and clear frankincense with these sweet spices, all in equal amounts. Then you shall make of these an incense, a compound, work of a perfumer, salted, clean, set apart. And you shall beat some of it very fine, and put some of it before the witness in the tent of appointment where I meet with you. It is most set apart to you. And the incense which you make, do not make any for yourselves according to its composition. It is set apart to you for Yahweh. Whoever makes any like it to smell it, he shall be cut off from his people.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Okay, next up is Michael. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. May he bless Michael, who's come up to honor Yahweh and the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of his hand. Amen. Okay, Michael, you're going to read all of chapter 31, which is 18 verses.
All right, mic check. All right. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, See, I have called my name Bethsaliel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehudah, and I have filled him with the spirit of Elohim in wisdom, and in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all work, to make designs for work in gold, and in silver, and in bronze, in cutting stones for setting, and in carving wood, and to work in all work. And I have appointed with him Oholeb, son of Ahashmach, of the tribe of Dan. I have put wisdom in the hearts of everyone who is wise-hearted, and they shall make all that I have commanded you, the tent of appointment, and the ark of the witness, and the lid of atonement that is on it, and all the utensils of the tent, and the table and its utensils, and the clean gold lamp with all its utensils, and with slaughter place of incense, and the slaughter place of ascending offering with all its utensils, and the basin and its stand, and the woven garments, and the setting apart garments of Aaron the priest, the garments of his son for serving as priests, and then atoning oil and sweet incense for the set apart place, according to all that I have commanded you, they are to do. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, and you speak to the children of Yisrael, saying, my Sabbath you are to guard by all means, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, to know that I, Yahweh, am setting you apart. For you shall guard the Sabbath, for it is set apart to you. Everyone who profanes it shall certainly be put to death. For anyone who does work on it, that being shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days' work is done, and on the seventh is a Sabbath of rest, set apart to Yahweh. Everyone doing work on the Sabbath day shall certainly be put to death. And the children of Yasharel shall guard the Sabbath to perform the Sabbath throughout their generations in every lasting covenant. Between me and the children of Yasharel, it is a sign of forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And when he had ended speaking with him on the Mount Sinai, he gave Moshe 2 tablets of the witness, tablet of stone written with the finger of Elohim.
Amen. Amen. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that, Michael. Okay, next up we have Barbara. He who blessed our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Barbara, who's both honor Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless her and her family, and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of her hands. Amen. Okay, Barbara, take us into chapter 32 and read verses 1 through 18.
Okay, mic check. Can you hear me? Okay. And when the people saw that Moshe was so long in coming down from the mountain, the people gathered together to Aharon and said to him, arise, make us mighty ones who go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us up out of the land of Mitzrayim, we do not know what has become of him. And Aharon said to them, take off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me. And all the people took off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them to Aharon. And he took this from their hand, and he formed it with an engraving tool, and made a molded calf. And they said, this is your mighty one, O Yisrael, that brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Aharon saw and built a slaughter place before it, and Aharon called out and said, tomorrow is a festival to Yahuwah. And they rose early on the next day and offered ascending offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and drink, and rose up to play. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, go, get down, for your people whom you brought out of the land of Mitzrayim have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them, and they have made themselves a molded calf, and have bowed themselves to it, and slaughtered to it, and said, this is your mighty one, O Yisrael, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, I have seen this people, and see, it is a stiff-necked people. And now let me alone, that my wrath might burn against them, and I consume them, and I make of you a great nation. But Moshe pleaded with Yahuwah his Elohim and said, Yahuwah, why does your wrath burn against your people, whom you have brought out of the land of Mitzrayim with great power and with a strong hand? Why should the Mizrahites speak and say, for evil he brought them out, to kill them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from the heat of your wrath, and relent from this evil to your people. Remember Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yisrael, your servants, to whom you swore by yourself, and said to them, I increase your seed like the stars of the heavens, and all this land that I have spoken of I give to your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And Yahuwah relented from the evil which he said he would do to his people. And Moshe turned and went down from the mountain. Okay, how long was I to read till? I forget. And in his hand were the 2 tablets of the witness, tablets written on both their sides, written on the one and on the other. And the tablets were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim engraved on the tablets. And Yehoshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, and he said to Moshe, a noise of battle in the camp. But he said, it is not the sound of those who shout of might, nor is it the sound of those who cry out in weakness, but the sound of singing that I hear. And it came to be, as soon as he came near the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moshe's displeasure burned, and he threw the tablets out of his hands. Yes, I went too far.
Verse 18, you were good right there.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, good job. Good job. Thank you. Good job, Barbara. All right, next up is Kendall. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Kendall, who's come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Kendall, take us from verse 19 to the end of chapter 32. Okay, no problem. Let's go ahead then and get, okay, and Fred and Barbara, you have your hand still up as well. Okay, let's go for, is it going to be Alicia or Matthew? Who's going to be reading there? Matthew, okay. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Matthew, who's come up down to Yahweh in the Torah. May he set apart one, bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay. Go ahead, Matthew. You take us from verse 19 to the end of chapter 32.
Okay. All right. Verse 19 of which section? My daughter was talking over you. I'm sorry. 19 of 32. Okay. And it came to be...
No, wait, hold on. Okay, wait. Okay. You're going to read from verse 19 to the end of the chapter, which is verse 35, and you're also not really loud enough. I got to get you to be a little bit louder. If you can turn your volume up or get a little closer to your mic.
hang on one moment. I'm going to try hooking up this headset and see if that improves it any. All right, can you hear me better with this?
Not really. It's still the same problem. I mean, I've got a pretty loud computer, so I could probably hear you okay, but probably others are struggling to hear you. As you can see from the number 2s on the screen.
Try that.
All right, did a little more adjusting. Let's see if that's a little more noticeable.
Okay, now you may be just a little bit too hot. Go for it again.
Okay, hold on. It's a process. All right, take 3. Microphone check.
That's good, right there. Perfect.
Yay,
go for it.
We got it. All right.
Okay, chapter 32, verses 19 to the end of the chapter.
You got it. And it came to be, as soon as he came near the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moshe's displeasure burned. And he threw the tablets out of his hands and broke them at the floor of the mountain. And he took the calf which they had made, and burned it in the fire, and ground it into powder, and scattered it on the face of the water, and made the children of Yisrael drink it. And Moshe said to Aaron, "What did this people do to you, that you have them brought so great a sin upon them?" And Aaron said, "Do not let the displeasure of my master burn. You know the people, that it is an evil." And they said to me, "Make us a mighty ones, who go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us out of the land of Mitzrayim, we do not know what has become of him." And I said to them, "Whoever has gold, let them take it off." And they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and this calf came out. And Moshe saw that the people were let loose, for Aaron had let them loose, to their shame among their enemies. And Moshe stood at the entrance of the camp, and said, "Who is for Yahweh? Come to me." And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves to him. And he said to them, "Thus said Yahweh Elohim of Yisrael, each one put out his sword on his side, pass over to and fro from gate to gate in the camp, and each one kill his brother, and each one his friend, and each one his relative." And the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moshe, and about 3,000 men of the people fell that day. And Moshe said, "You are ordained for Yahweh today, since each one has been against his son and his brother, so as to bring upon you a blessing today." And it came to be on the next day that Moshe said to the people, You have sinned a great sin, and now I am going up to Yahweh, if I might atone for your sin. And Moshe returned to Yahweh and said, "Oh, these people have sinned a great sin, and have made for themselves a mighty one of gold. And now, if you would forgive their sin, but if not, please blot me out of your book which you have written." And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Whoever has sinned against me, I blot him out of my book. And now go, lead the people to the place of which I have spoken to you. See, my messenger goes before you, and in the day of my visitation I shall visit their sin upon them." And Yahweh plagued the people because they made the calf which Aaron had made.
Amen, amen. Okay, thank you. That worked out really well. Appreciate it, Matthew. Excuse me. All right, next up we've got Sam. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. May he bless Sam, who's come up to honor Yahweh and the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity in all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Sam, take us into chapter 33 and read verses 1 through 11.
Insert motherboard. All right, mic check. Okay. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Come, go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought out of the land of Mitzrayim, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov, saying, to your seed I give it. And I shall send my messenger before you, and I shall drive out the Canaanite, and the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey. For I do not go up in your midst, because you are a stiff-necked people, lest I consume you on the way. And when the people heard this evil word, they mourned, and no one put on his ornaments. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Say to the children of Israel, You are a stiff-necked people. Should I go up in your midst for one moment, I shall consume you. And now take off your ornaments, and I shall know what to do to you. So the children of Israel took off their ornaments at Mount Horeb. And Moshe took his tent and pitched it outside the camp, far from the camp, and called it the tent of appointment. And it came to be that everyone who sought Yahweh went out to the tent of appointment, which was outside the camp. And it came to be, whenever Moshe went out to the tent, that all the people rose, and each man stood at his tent door and watched Moshe until he entered the tent. And it came to be, when Moshe entered the tent, that the column of cloud descended and stood at the door of the tent, and he spoke with Moshe. And all the people saw the column of cloud standing at the tent door, and all the people rose and bowed themselves, each one at the door of his tent. Thus Yahweh spoke to Moshe face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, and he would return to the camp. But his servant Yehoshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not leave the tent.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Sam. All right, next up we've got AJ. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless AJ, who's cleft honor Yahweh in the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, AJ, take us now from verse 12 to the end of the chapter.
All right. Mic check? Good. And Moshe said to Yahweh, See, you are saying to me, Bring up this people. But you have not made known to me whom you would send with me, though you have said, I know your by name, and you have also found favor in my eyes. And now please, if I have found favor in your eyes, please show me your way, and let me know you, so that I find favor in your eyes. And consider that this nation is your people. And he said, My presence does go, and I shall give you rest. And he said to him, If your presence is not going, do not lead us up from here. For how then shall it be known that I found favor in your eyes, I and your people, except you go with us? Then we shall be distinguished, I and your people, from all the people who are upon the face of the earth. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Even this word you have spoken I shall do, for you have found favor in my eyes, and I know you by name. Then he said, Please, show me your esteem. And he said, I shall cause all my goodness to pass before you, and I shall proclaim the name of Yahweh before you. And I shall favor him whom I favor, and shall have compassion on him on whom I have compassion. But he said, You were unable to see my face, for no man does see me and live. And Yahweh said, See, there is a place with me, and you shall stand on the rock. And it shall be while my esteem passes by, that I shall put you in the cleft of the rock, and cover you with my hand while I pass by. Then I shall take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen.
Amen. Amen. Okay. Thank you, AJ. Okay, we've got two more readings here as we get into chapter 34. We'll begin with Olivier. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Olivier, who's come out of Yahweh in the Torah. May the set-apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Olivier, take us into chapter 34 and read verses 1 through 17.
Mic check. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Cut 2 tablets of stone like the first ones, and I shall write on these tablets the words that were the first tablets which you broke. And be ready in the morning. Then you shall come up in the morning to Mount Sinai, and present yourself to me there on the top of the mountain. And let no man come up with you, and let no man be seen in all the mountain, and let not even the flock or the herd feed in front of that mountain. And he cut 2 tablets of stone like the first ones. Then Moshe rose early in the morning and went up Mount Sinai, as Yahweh had commanded him. And he took 2 tablets of stone in his hand. And Yahweh came down in the cloud and stood with him there, and proclaimed the name, Yahweh. And Yahweh passed before him and proclaimed, Yahweh, Yahweh, and held compassionate and showing favor, patient and great in loving commitment and truth, watching over loving commitment for thousands, forgiving crookedness and transgression and sin, but by no means leaving unpunished, visiting the crookedness of the fathers upon the children and the children's children, to the 3rd and the 4th generation. And Moshe hurried and bowed himself toward the earth and did obeisance, and said, If now I have found favor in your eyes, O Yahweh, I pray, let Yahweh go in our midst, even though we are a stiff-necked people, and forgive our crookedness and our sin, and take us as your inheritance. And he said, See, I am making a covenant. For all your people, I am going to do wonders, such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among whom you are shall see the work of Yahweh. For what I am doing with you is awesome. Guard what I command you today. See, I am driving out from before you the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Guard yourself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you are going, lest it be a snare in your midst. But break down their slaughter places, and smash their pillars, and cut down their asherim. For you do not bow yourselves to another mighty ones. For Yahweh, whose name is jealous, is a jealous El. Lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they war after their mighty ones, and slaughter to their mighty ones. When one of them invites you, and you eat of his slaughterings. When you take of his daughters for your sons, and his daughters war after their mighty ones, and make your sons war after their mighty ones. Do not make a molded mighty one for yourselves.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Olivier. Okay, last reader. We've got Raymond. He who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may he bless Raymond, who's come down to Yahweh in the Torah. May the set apart one bless him and his family, and send blessing and prosperity on all the works of his hands. Amen. Okay, Raymond, take us to finish up the Torah portion with verses 18 through the end of the chapter, 18 through 35 for chapter 34.
Mic test. Guard the festival of Matzoth. For 7 days you eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you, in the appointed time of the new moon of Aviv. Because in the new moon of Aviv you came out from Mitzrayim. Every one opening the womb is mine, and every male firstborn among your livestock, whether bull or sheep. But the firstborn of a donkey you ransom with a lamb. And if you do not ransom, then you shall break his neck. Every firstborn of your sons you shall ransom, and they shall not appear before me empty-handed. 6 days you work, but on the 7th day you rest. In plowing time and in harvest you rest. And perform the festival of Shavuot for yourself, of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the festival of ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times in the year, all your men are to appear before the Master, Yah, the Elohim of Yisrael. For I dispossess nations before you, and shall enlarge your borders, and let no one covet your land when you go up to appear before Yah, your Elohim, 3 times in the year. Do not slay the blood of my slaughtering with leaven, and do not let the slaughtering of the festival of the Pesach remain until morning. Bring the first of the firstfruits of your land to the house of Yah, your Elohim. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. And Yah said to Moshe, write these words, or according to the mouth of these words, I have made a covenant with you and with Yisrael. And he was there with Yah 40 days and 40 nights. He did not eat bread, and he did not drink water. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 words. And it came to be, when Moshe came down from Mount Sinai, while the 2 tablets of the witness were in Moshe's hand, when he came down from the mountain, that Moshe did not know that the skin of his face shone, since he had spoken with him. And Aharon and all the children of Israel looked at Moshe and saw the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. But Moshe called out to them, and Aharon and all the rulers of the congregation returned to him, and Moshe spoke to them. And afterward all the children of Israel came near, and he commanded them all that Yah had spoken with him on Mount Sinai. And when Moshe ended speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But whenever Moshe went in before Yah to speak with him, he would remove the veil until he came out. And when he came out, he spoke to the children of Yisrael what he had been commanded. And the children of Yisrael would see the face of Moshe, that the skin of Moshe's face shone. And Moshe
Amen, amen, amen. Okay, thank you all your readers. Thank you, Raymond, for closing us up there. Great readings to all of you. Appreciate you stepping up to read the word in front of your brothers and your sisters here. Closing prayer. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Yahweh noten haTorah. Amen. Blessed are you, Yahweh your Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us a Torah of truth and has planted eternal life in our midst. Blessed are you, Yahweh, giver of the Torah. Amen. 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 All right. Excellent job, everyone. Excellent job. Okay, so first, let's go through a couple of announcements. Okay, we have some important announcements here. Got about 117 people in the room. So let's go ahead and go through some of these announcements. Passover registration is in full swing. We have over 200 people already registered, only about 30 rooms left. Okay, so if you're coming to Pesach, go ahead and let us know. If you're planning to stay less than the full week, we won't be able to give you a room at this point. We'll have to hold them for those staying the whole time. If we do have rooms available, after we get mostly everybody registered, we will be able to put you on a waiting list. So call and let us know if we need to put you on a waiting list for a room. But if you are staying the whole time, we've got 30 rooms left to put people in. And so go ahead and get registered. We have last year we had almost the same amount of people that we already have registered, and it's only February. Okay, last year we had about 225 people. I think we have about 218 now, and so that's almost the same, and we're still a good long way. We're like 2 months away. So it's going to be a big one. It's going to be exciting. All right, next announcement. This is for the Beth Shalom people. It turns out that I have a meeting to go to on Thursday, and I don't think we'll be able to run the dance class on Thursday. So we're going to have to pass on the dance class. So Sarah Beth, help get the word around. We'll post it on the Marco Polo. Anybody else here at Beth Shalom that knows people that would be coming to the dance class, please let them know that it is canceled for this week. We'll try to maybe do it the next week. But I will be in Knoxville on Thursday and not able to be here for the class. And I don't think we'll have any. Let's just go ahead and cancel it, okay? Quietly sobbing. Just kidding. Okay. All right. Will there be a guest speaker for Pesach? The same guest speaker that we always have. Me. All right. We did have a guest speaker, Tony Tanakh. There you go. We did have a guest speaker at Sukkot. That was an unusual event. That's probably the first and only time we've ever had a guest speaker. No, actually, I had my friend Dominic speak about 18 years ago for the group. He has since passed away. So we've had twice. Okay, Robert, let's keep him in prayer. He looks like he lost power, and he might be able to get it back. Robert, I assume you're back in town, and that's where you're having these power problems? Okay. Well, welcome back. I'm glad that you got back safely, only to run into a storm and power problems. 2014 Sukkot, there were some speakers. I don't know if they count. 2014. Who was here speaking at the Sukkot in 2014? Oh, we had people doing classes. That was different. Okay, classes, well. Also, Tony Hughes came up and was a guest and shared a little bit. And he was at one of them. Yes, Tony was here for a Sukkot. Was it Sukkot? Just for a couple of days, a couple of years ago. Okay. All right. But no, at the moment we do not have anybody planned to be a guest speaker, Freddie, at would Curtis count as a guest speaker? Yes, he would, but he was here for Sukkot. He will not be coming for Passover. Okay. Uncle Bob says Dan Curtis, but Uncle Bob, you were actually doing one of the classes at one point during one of the feasts as well. All right. That being said, more announcements. We will be announcing things for Purim. That will be next month, towards the end of March. Okay, so we'll be announcing that here coming soon. What else do I need to tell you? I'm going to think if there's anything else. I'm just marking some things off on my calendar here. Give me a second. I've not been in my office in a long time to mark things off my calendar. Okay. Janice said she likes having me speak. Okay. So I am planning to do some speaking. And let's see. There's something else I wanted to say, and I don't remember what it was. Okay, so canceled dance class. I mentioned Passover. Okay, Raymond apparently wants me to mention Purim Katan since he's brought it up twice. Okay. I don't know what to say about Purim Katan, Raymond. I only do one Purim. I do it in Adar. Whatever the Adar is right before Aviv, and in this case it's going to be Adar 2. Okay, so I really don't have anything to say about Purim Katan, and in the past I've never promoted it. That's not to say you guys shouldn't. I just don't really have anything to say about that. Okay, but when there's two Adars, one can consider Adar 1 and Adar 2, and the first one would have Purim Katan, and Purim proper would be in Adar 2. Okay, but the property, we are in the process of having our books audited, so to speak, so that we could have a proper set of books to present to the bank for approval, so we could purchase or attempt to purchase the Calhoun property of 225 acres. Very excited about all the good work that Stacia Hayes has done to get our books all in order. There was nothing wrong with our books; they just were a mess. We've kept a good and accurate accounting of all of the things we've done. All the money's been spent appropriately. We just didn't have it in an accounting format that would impress a bank as we needed. Although we did manage to buy the building we're in now with that, so that worked out really good. Okay. Stacia has 1 C, by the way, just in case anybody's looking at the spelling there. All right. Fred said, got kicked out but didn't hear about Purim. We're not announcing anything about Purim yet, but we will. Okay? Is that the property with the drone video online? Just wondering. No. No, that was a property that was owned by the Boys and Girls Club of America, and that's not the one we're getting. I don't think this one has drone footage. Well, it's got some footage, but we'll get our own footage together for it. Okay? They were decent, now they're decently in order. There you go. No, because the reason I wanted to say that is I didn't want you to think that we did not do well in our accounting. We've kept track of everything. We just have not put it into a format that's usable by a bank, etc. That's all we're talking about. Okay. If we're able to get the site, would Sukkot be used for it this year? No. It's going to need a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of funds to get that work done. So I don't think we'd have any possibility of having it available for Sukkot this year. But, you never know. Yah's in charge, not me. So we'll have to see. We will have water rights for the river. I don't know what the water rights are, but we do have a mile of river front. So I'm sure we'll have access to the river. Okay. All right. So that's the announcements with the to cover that. Okay. I don't have in front of me either. Okay, I'll just have to cover it. We'll make more announcements next week for things that are coming up as we get into and flow through here the end of Adar. Okay, now, all right, so as we go forward now into the discussion portion of tonight's study, what we're going to do is, as always, be reminded that we're going to be looking at the Torah portion from the perspective of what can you glean out of it that you can then take and apply to your growing, conforming, transforming into the image of Yeshua. Okay? In other words, what will help you in your walk and your journey to the kingdom and your transformational process? There are things that happen in this Torah portion that you can see yourself in, either good or bad. And so let's try to focus on those things. There'll also be some questions like the one that the Barney's just typed in that we'll try to address things that you were confused about or interested in or don't understand, and we can talk about them as well, okay? All right, so let's go through this. We're also going to try to take this chronologically, which means we're going to start in chapter 30, if we can, and just work our way through. All right, if you have a question or comment like the Barneys did, you can type it in, or you can go ahead and raise your hand, and we can also address things by allowing you an opportunity to get on the microphone. Let's begin with the Barney's question about chapter 30 and verse 12. When you take the census of the children to register them, then each one shall give an atonement for his life to Yahweh when you register them, so that there is no plague among them when you register them. Okay, so why is this going on? I'm confused. Is this the half shekel for atonement? How do we do this today? So, what does anybody see on this? Does anybody want to add? AJ, is your hand up for a question, or do you want to comment on this? Separate. Okay, so we'll wait for you for a separate question. Anybody want to jump in on the half shekel? All right. Tell me the question is also in 32:30. Okay, in 32:30 it says, and it came to me on the next day. Moshe said to people, you have sinned a great sin. Now I'm going to Yahweh if I might atone for your sin. Okay, but that's after we have some problems with some issues going on. And so let's go ahead and understand what's going on. So in chapter 30 and verse 12, okay, so the people, what does atonement have to do with? Well, give me an idea of what does the atonement kind of mean? What's happening in the atonement process? At-one-ment, cleaning. Okay, there's a cleansing idea possibly there. To make amends, covering, forgiveness, restitution, alignment, reconciliation, excellent, from the Rebbitzin. Offering a scapegoat. Well, the money is not a scapegoat here, but okay. Repentance. All right, those are all really good answers, and they're all part of the idea. Okay, so I really like the one that the Rebbitzin put out there, not just because she's my beautiful wife, but I just like the answer. You know, Israel had come out of Egypt. They had gotten disconnected from their Creator. Okay, they're going through this journey and this process. They've had some issues here as they came and made atonement. And so in their covenanting, I think Yah realized that there needed to be a price that people pay to show their level of commitment. And also to understand that it's about reconciliation. Atoning is not just saying I'm sorry. Okay? So you can do something and say I'm sorry. You can do something and ask for forgiveness, but it's a desire to be reconciled to, that this is a representation of. So the half shekel is a contribution. It gives some closure, okay? The idea of being bought with a price, okay? There's a redeeming price. Thank you, Raymond and David and Amy. And so that also gives us a little bit of a sign or symbol towards Yeshua, paying a price for us, well beyond the value of a half shekel. All right? And so this is very important. Okay, Crystal likes it that saying no matter what class or gender, etc., everyone is equal. Everyone was required to give the same half shekel. The restoring of relationship. Okay? I think it also has to do with commitment. Okay, if you and I are making a deal, and we both put some money into it, or we put something into it, it shows a level of commitment. Now, of course, a half shekel wasn't a lot. Okay? We see in the redeeming of the firstborn, it's 5 shekels as opposed to a half shekel. But this is for everyone. So that was a good question. Thank you to the Barneys for asking that question. Hopefully, let me ask the Barneys, did that answer your question? Was that sufficient to give you sort of a sense of what that was all about? Did you get a 1 or a 2 out of you guys? Okay, good. Good. And let me scroll back up and see what else is going on. Okay, the other part of the question was, how do we do this today? Okay, so we don't have a half shekel. We do have an MTOI silver coin, which is a little bit more than a shekel. We've been using that for the Pidyon Ben. Yah has not been asking us to do this. This was a thing they did this one time. There are some ministries out there that do certain things with the half shekel. There are certain Christian ministries that will be very glad to sell you their idea of the half shekel for a reasonably high donation of some sort. All right? And so, we don't have a half shekel to work with. If you feel motivated to do this, you're certainly welcome to go ahead and get about a ½ ounce worth of silver, okay, which is what the half shekel would have been. And you can donate that or contribute that to the cause, so to speak. Most of you already are tithing and giving offerings, but this was part of the census, okay? This was each person standing up and saying, I'm part of the group, I'm here, okay? Right, Raymond says this instruction applies for taking the census. We're not taking one. All right, what about the small coin? The small coin is a ½ ounce. So that could work. Again, this is not something that's being required today, but I'm saying if somebody was motivated to do something like this, you certainly could. Okay? Because there was a problem in counting them directly. Well, I mean, it certainly would be a lot easier after everybody showed up and gave a half shekel, that you can always count the coins easier than counting, several 100,000 bodies. Okay? And so that would be a way to account for things. Okay, David Ames, a commitment that it has to cost us something, relationship. If it doesn't cost us something, it isn't of much value to us, maybe. That's part of it, probably. Okay? Candace says, I think about the covering Moses had put on his face. His face was brightly shining, thinking how Yahweh's light must be so powerful, and who can stand before him. I think that my heart must be pure so I can stand in his brilliant light. I think I still have a ways to go. Amen. We all could probably echo the same words, Candace. All right. Raymond, did you want to step in on this point, or did you have something else to say?
Thing. I know you invited some participation. I couldn't click my hand in time. So with the census, some of you may remember that we have this as a positive example of how Moshe is supposed to take a census to register them when they're directed to do so, and then we also have a negative example. One of the few big errors that we have recorded for Melech David, for King David, and in 2 Samuel, I think it's in the 20s. So and David doesn't follow this instruction when he does this at all. He just counts them directly, and we see. Counting them directly, the concern is with bodies, in other words, with military men. The motivations are potentially quite not of faith. The very interesting thing about doing the census by the coin, what I meant with there's a problem counting them directly is I was referring to this issue, less so to the number of them, but more to why are you counting them? Are you counting them because you were instructed to? Are you counting them as an act of faith? Or for other reasons. And so the counting that was done just of plain bodies, they had the methods to do so, but it was a problem motivationally. It stirred up their pride to count the bodies. But the thing with counting the coins, the giving of the coin for the registration is itself an act of faith. It's an act of trust in Yah. It's an act of loyalty, etc. And it's a different mechanism, and it also introduced a certain element of uncertainty as far as like, well, do I really have this many? And so no king would use it for figuring things militarily either. And those are just a couple of the things to put on the table when considering the different methods of the counting. We have the one that we're instructed, and it's only for instructed censuses. And then there's the there's the other method, that's the way that the nations do things. And we've made some mistakes with that in the past, and hopefully as a body learned our lesson.
Amen. I mean, actually, there's a theme in here that has to do with us choosing to do things our way and not his way. There's some things going on with that quite a bit in here, so we see that quite clearly. I'm going to see what else I missed on the screen here. Developing compounded to obedience. So horizontal, vertical structure, training. That was from Greg. Chapter 32, I see honor and shame all over. Aaron and the people brought shame to Yah. Moshe and the Levites brought honor to Yah. Excellent. Good, Freddie. Okay, AJ, go ahead.
I have 3 questions. Let me know if that's too much, but the first 2 and 32. So 32:14, I've always had a question on this, and it says that Yah relented from the evil which he said he would do to his people. Is the word evil correct in this? Or is that a translation choice? And then my other question is in verse 22. Again, I don't want to put any blame on Aharon, but it seems that there's like a lack of ownership, and he's trying to justify the actions, or is he just simply explaining the choice that he made. I just want to get an understanding of those two.
Okay, AJ, give me the second one again, because I was looking at the verse for the first one and trying to think of how I wanted to answer you, and I missed the second.
Oh, sure, yeah. So 32:22, and just kind of the whole building the calf, and kind of 32:22 to 25.
All right, you said 3 questions. What was the third one?
Okay, sorry, I didn't want to bombard you. And then 33:11, and it talks about how Yahushua, son of Nun, a young man, did not leave the tent. I've always observed this as his heart for the Father, that he was just totally content with where he was at and just did not want to leave the presence. Is that like an accurate observation?
Okay, I appreciate those 3 questions. So let's deal with them one at a time. So who would like to address question number 1 when it talks about, in verse 12, it says, turn, when Moses is saying to him, turn from the heat of your wrath and relent from the evil to your people. Okay? Does anybody have a comment for that before I address it? Okay, Raymond, go ahead.
Yeah, it worked to get my hand up in time this time. Cool. Okay, so just wanted to make an observation that the word evil in Hebrew is much more broad than the way that we have this very restricted sense in English, and it gets used both for like the abstract of evil, and it also gets used to say, you know, just something that was generally unpleasant, like an evil smell or something like that. And so you don't want to see every time you see you know, Ra or the related extrapolations of that in Hebrew. You don't want to think every time you see that it means like moral evil. That's just one thing that I would say is an important observation about the word and how it gets used. Is it's the base meaning has more to do with just that which is, you know, generally unpleasant or undesirable, etc. And moral evil is like a subset of that.
Okay. I'm going to maybe take this in a slightly different direction than Raymond did. What was the definition that I've always given you for evil? Not Raymond specifically, but all of you in general. What's the definition of evil, scripturally, the way I've described it to you? Doing anything against Torah, doing anything against what Yahweh says to do, doing against what Yahweh intended. Okay, good, David and Amy. Anything that goes against what Yahweh wants or says to do, against Yahweh's design or will or instruction. Okay, all good answers. Okay, so is Exodus 32 after the covenant at Sinai? Okay, so what had he intended Israel for and his part with Israel? He had intended to take them as his people. He had intended to sit them high on a mountain. Of course, he also intended them to keep their part of the bargain. Okay? And so you could look at that idea of evil here, not from a moralistic point of view, but from a more of a literalistic point of view of Yahweh, if he were to destroy this people, it goes against what he had intended for this people. Okay, he had intended for them to be the shining light for societies of the world, all around the world, to be looked at as his people, to shine the light of what that looks like to all nations. That was what he had intended. Okay? And so you don't see that happening if he goes ahead and kills everybody. All right, and wipes them out. So I just want to throw that out there. So that doesn't, mean that what Raymond said was wrong. I'm just taking it in a slightly different direction. Because yes, the word Hebrew the word in Hebrew has more nuances than that. But I think it really does still connect to what I've said in the past, which is he had intended them for a different purpose and to wipe them out would go against his purpose. Okay? Because remember, Moses has the idea of, well, if you go ahead and kill them, what is everybody going to say about you when they see what you've done? You're taking your people out here in the desert just to kill them? Okay? And so I just wanted to throw that out there as something that could be more of a clarity there. Okay. Let's continue. Let me see if I can scroll up any higher back to some of the stuff I may have missed. Pat Novak, a question on verse 32-33. Whoever sinned against me, I blot him out of my book. I'm doing the Millennium Series for the second time. How do you think those who were blotted out will figure into the return of the Yeshua Millennium? Okay, 32-33. And now if you would forgive their sin, but if not, please blot me out of your book, which you have written. And Yahweh said to Moses, whoever has sinned against me, I blot him out of my book. And now go, lead the people to the place of which I have spoken to you. Okay, so blotting out of the book and who gets in and who gets out and what figures in, Pat, is above my pay grade. What I know to tell you is do it the best you can with all your heart and strength and might and being, and you should be just fine. Okay? I think we get in all kinds of trouble trying to figure out who gets in, who gets out. My guess is that when he's talking here, you know, you have two possibilities. There are those that have abjectly rejected him, rebelliously decided they'd have no use for him. They are blotted out. They're not going to be in the kingdom. There are those that when you sin, what do you do when you sin? You create a separation. You're blotting yourself out. You're now coming under the death penalty when you sin. Of course, you can get back into the book by making teshuvah and repenting. So he gives us opportunity to fix things, to make things right, to set them straight. Okay, so I'm hoping that that answers your question, Pat. Okay? All right, so that would be my guess there. Okay, Candace asks, okay, so, wait, Olivier says something about chapter 31. What do you want to ask in chapter 31? Did you want to go to chapter 31? We've already jumped all over the place here. So you're welcome. Okay, you already put a similar question. 31:15, when it says everyone doing work on Shabbat shall certainly be put to death, are we risking being cut off from the book of life when we work on Shabbat? Hopefully that answered your question when I answered Pat's question. Every time you sin, unless you fix it, you're cut off. That's what it says. But you have an opportunity generally to fix it. Hopefully that's clear for everyone. Okay? Sin cuts you off. Teshuvah is restoring. Atonement is restoring. Restoration is what this is all about. Okay? Hopefully that makes some sense. Candace says, in chapter 33, one says that Moses spoke with Yahweh face to face. The other one said that he could not see his face. Okay, so do you guys remember on Shabbat I said something about idiomatic phrases? Idiomatic phrases? Anybody remember that? A couple of ones? Okay. So idiomatic phrase here about panim el panim, face to face. It means that he spoke to Moses directly, without any mediators, without any middlemen. He spoke to Moses directly. It doesn't mean they literally were looking into each other's face. Okay, is that clear for everyone? And that's why it's not a contradiction or a problem when he says that he didn't allow Moses to see his face. The main point is that he spoke to Moses face to face. In other words, directly, without anybody in between. Right. AJ remembers the thing at service with the I love you to death. Okay? All right. Cloud, fire, was that Yeshua? I believe it was. I don't think the Father's interacted with human beings ever in any kind of an opportunity where his presence could come into the presence where there's sin and death. I explained that in the Jessan and Jack. I explained that in the Father and the Son teaching. Okay? So I think that's important. Arthur said, like you are speaking to us directly and we do not see your face. Kevin typed a whole bunch of threes. I have no idea what threes mean since we never use threes. Okay. That must mean that Yahweh's presence is such a strong, powerful light that Moses' face would shine and people could look upon his face. That's right. Okay. No need to apologize, Kevin. I just don't know what the threes mean because we don't use them for anything. Okay. Oh, that's a 1 plus a 2, so he's got a lot of threes. He's agreeing, but he's confused at the same time. Okay, so 3 for confusion. We'll use that from now on. That's kind of good. I like that. Okay. Okay, I hadn't realized that I didn't put Robert back in the admin spot after he came back in, and now people are not getting let back in the room. Actually, Robert's not in here. He must have gotten booted out. He lost power and didn't get back in. Okay, no problem. Whoa, what just happened? Okay, did everybody's screen just change? Okay, that was an accident. Sorry, I clicked on something on the admin side. There we go. Okay, so let me go back to some of the questions. Hey, Raymond gives a 3 for confusion. I put up a 3. I was confused. Didn't understand what was going on there. Okay, let's see. Someone did ask about Joshua sitting at the tent and staying. I agree with that. Look, Joshua was showing that he was in full discipleship with Moses. Okay, and Joshua was there to man the post, make sure nobody was walking in and out. He was doing all kinds of duties and there to protect the interests of what Yahweh had intended and what Moses had wanted as well. I'm just reading some of the questions. Give me a second. Okay, so the question is in 32:30 and 32:34. 32:30, it says, you have sinned a great sin, and now I am going up to Yahweh if I might atone for your sin. So Moses is going up to try to atone for that sin. And then 34, and now go lead the people to the place which I spoke to you. See, my messenger goes before you. And in the day of my visitation I shall visit and sit upon them. That's not like a specific day necessarily, although it certainly could be referring to the day of Yahweh. But everybody has their time when they have to stand before him. So I'm going to guess it has more to do with that at this point. So I'm not going to get too heavy into that. Remember, it gets to be a little bit more complex. 33:18. Yeah, I mean, that's just Moses asking to really see Yahweh. And Yahweh says, I can't really do that. I'm going to protect you and put you in the cleft. Okay? So we're not going to deal with that further. That's right. Joshua was Moshe's Shamash. Exactly. All right. Okay, Raymond posted the new numbers. 1 is for yes, 2 is for no, 3 is for confused or unclear, 5 is for typing something wrong. Good. Okay, now, let me add a few things here as it's getting already closer to shutdown time. Okay, so this is important in case people need to know. When we do the Vishamru every week, it comes from Exodus 31, verses 16 and 17. Okay, so we sing the Vishamru as part of our liturgy. So that's where that comes from. You have, let's see, in chapter 32. No, let me go back to chapter 30. Okay, 30:25. And it says this in other places. I'm just picking on 35, chapter 30, verse 25, where it says, and you shall make there a set-apart anointing oil, a compound blended, the work of a perfumer. It is set-apart anointing oil. So I just want you to understand, here it's showing that being set apart, kadosh, is to be what? What does kadosh mean? What does it mean? I give anybody a chance. Not just set apart, what's it mean? Come on, I've given you a definition that you've heard me say a million times. Come on, somebody's got to know my definition. There you go. Brian and Jamie, good job. Set apart for the purpose of Yahweh. It's exclusive, though. Chuck puts that part in there, so mix those two together. Set apart for the exclusive purpose of serving whatever Yahweh's desire is. If he's that serious about an anointing oil, and you'll see he's also that serious about the incense, how do you think he feels about his set-apart people? His set-apart people are not to be used for any other purpose than that which he has determined, that which he has set aside and purposed to be. Not to be used for any other purpose. Let's see that in other places. When you read this section, you may sit there going, oh yeah, he doesn't want the oil smelled by anybody, and they're not supposed to mix that thing and use it any other way. The key word is that it is kadosh. Kadosh, okay? Set apart for a specific purpose that Yahweh has uniquely set apart and exclusively set apart for it to be used for. We are a kadosh people. We need to be aware that we are not to be used for any purpose beyond what Yahweh has intended. That's hard. That's rough. Right, the exclusivity and the specialness is very key. Okay? Thank you, Raymond. Good point. A good way of wording what I'm trying to say. That definition makes it very clear what Kadosh Holy means. Christianity uses the word so broadly. Well, that's why I call it, again, part of Christianese. When Christianity takes a word and turns it into... That's what my definition of Christianese is, when they take a word and make it no longer mean what it originally meant. Or where people don't even know what it means. You go up to the average Christian and ask what holy means, they don't know. They don't know. What does holy mean? They have no idea. It means in heaven or God or whatever. They don't know what it means. And neither did you probably before you came into this. If someone had actually pushed you to give them a definition of holy. You know? Okay? Now, let's go to chapter 31 and verse 1 through 5. What you see going on here is I want to point out another interesting point. Okay, chapter 31, you see this person called Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehuda. And he is filled by who? Who fills him? With the spirit of Elohim in wisdom. Yah does, okay? And he's filled with what? The wisdom and understanding and relationally and knowledge and in all the work to make designs for the work in gold, silver, bronze, cutting stones, for setting, and in carving wood, and to work in all that work. So what we're seeing here is what do we call this man? What do we call him? Anointed, appointed. How come my color turned from red to black? I gotta fix that. I don't know what happened. Okay? Anointed, appointed. Yahweh anointed him and appointed him. Okay? I'm going to type it in again. This is important. Okay. Anointed and appointed by Yahweh. And notice that he has the same things we've been talking about in the Proverbs teaching. Wisdom, understanding, and knowledge of what? Of a very specifically gifted thing, as Arthur just pointed out. A specially gifted area. So is this person gifted in farming? No. Is he gifted in teaching? No. Is he gifted in healing? No. He's gifted in what he's gifted in. So, point number one. When I talk about anointed appointeds, I generally am talking about teachers and ministry. That doesn't mean there aren't people anointed and appointed with other gifts and talent. But look, it's not just saying somebody who's really good at carpentry or working with stones or gems or gold or silver is anointed and appointed. He was making them to serve Yah. Leslie, good point. Yah equipped him to do the work that Yah commanded to be done. Okay? This is important that we understand. They're specifically and specially gifted by Yah to do the work he needs them to do. He desires them to do. Okay? Okay? Okay, anointed is another word bent over and abused by Christianity. I had no idea until I met a lot of them. Yes. Okay? So, when I tell you that what Paul was talking about in Ephesians, the fivefold ministry, he's describing to you 5 specific anointings that you need to go find those who are appointed to function in those anointings because you need them to grow and transform into the image of Yeshua. And you need them to help you in the journey into that fullness of the completeness of Messiah is what it says. Okay, I appreciate that, Olivia and Janet. You know, believing that I fit into that category, but it's not for me to claim. It's for you to find and discern. We don't have the simplicity of reading chapter 31 and having Yahweh speak to Moses and tell Moses this is what it is. Moses, by the way, didn't go out and pick this guy. Yahweh said, I have called by name this person, Betzalel, son of Uri. So Betzalel didn't self-appoint. He didn't self-anoint. But now, did Yahweh go directly to Betzalel and tell him he wanted him to make all these things? Or did he work through another anointed? Okay, so Moses was anointed to be the spokesman, the voice in human flesh for Yahweh at this point. That's what you see prophets doing. That's what you see teachers doing. Okay, that's right. He worked through Moshe. Okay? So for those that claim, well, the Ruach told me, and I know God told me that I'm supposed to go and do all these things, well, we see that very rarely in Scripture. Let me ask you a question. As far as we know, Jess and Jack go, Rabbi is not a car mechanic, Rabbi is Rabbi. You know what? How do you know I'm not a car mechanic? Did anybody let out my secret that I'm terrible at car mechanics? Okay, because you are correct. I am not a car mechanic. I don't even change my own oil. Okay, and probably good for my car that I don't. Okay, so here's the thing. All right, here's the thing. Oh, I have said it before. Okay, here is the thing. All right, very important that we understand as we're looking at this that people are going to claim these different things. I know there was a question I wanted to ask you. When you read Scripture, as far as you can see, what is the largest number that we're aware of, and I don't have an exact number, so you can't get this wrong, just give me a ballpark figure, of anointed appointeds from a leadership point of view that you see at any given time in Scripture. Not throughout the whole Bible, I mean at any given time in Scripture, at the same time. Okay, 70 and 120 are really good answers. Okay? 70 and 120 are good answers. Generally, though, before you have Yeshua and the 120, you really have 70 as the most. You see that with Moshe. So what do we see? Do we see just people? Now, those 120, did they just decide they were anointed? Or were they appointed by someone who was already anointed? Okay, they were appointed by someone already anointed. The 70 with Moshe, did they self-appoint? Or were they appointed by someone higher? Okay? Okay, so let's be careful that we see how these things work. There's a structure and a pattern you see all throughout Scripture. So you can't just have people randomly all over the planet claiming, hey, I'm, because I have people sending me emails all the time. I don't know if you get them too, Tony or Raymond or some of the other leaders and teachers. I get them all the time saying, well, Yah selected me to straighten all you guys out, and so I'm emailing you to straighten you out. And I'm only laughing not because, how dare somebody think they're going to straighten me out. I just think it's funny that somebody I don't know who is so self-possessed is going to email me to think they're going to straighten me out when I don't know how. I have no idea where you're coming from. Okay? Let's see. Freddie says, when someone tells you that Yah talks to them and shows them what books to read, face palm, how do we deal with that? I ask because I've had a cousin tell me this many times before, and I don't know how to reply to it. Just smile, say thank you, and, end the conversation, go move on. People are going to think that they're there to straighten you out and set you straight and everything else, and say, look, I appreciate your help that you're trying to do, and I'll just move on, okay? And then just move on. But let's understand that, chapter 31 is showing you a pattern of how anointings and appointings work in general. Okay, this is how they work in general. So it's not just for the work of bronze and silver and gold and stones. It's for anything that Yah needs done. Those serving Him directly. Teachers, leaders. In this case, they're going to be building a tabernacle, the Mishkan in the desert. He needs those with skills to put that stuff together. Okay? And so you have guys with these talents. So this is important. Okay? Now, let me go to the next point I've got on my paper here because it's almost 10 o'clock. I had a couple of more things I wanted to throw in there. Let's look at chapter 32. Very important for all leaders out there. You need to be, before you decide to do what I do, before you decide to get into leadership, are you willing to, this is important, are you willing to do in 32, 7, and 8, when Moses takes responsibility, after Yahweh points, first of all, I love this. Yahweh says to Moses, these people are your responsibility. As a matter of fact, he tells Moses, these people who you brought out of Egypt. You gotta love it. Yah brings them all out of Egypt. This is like the parent. You know, you guys know this. When you're a parent and your child messes up and your husband or your wife goes, do you know what your son did? My son? Didn't we both make the child? My daughter. It's so funny. Well, I'm glad you got home. Let me tell you what your daughter did. Let me tell you what your son, what do you mean my son? It's our son. Okay, but what God was saying here is, Moses, you're responsible for these people. You are in leadership. Okay, you are in leadership. And then Moses comes back and says when he says that whole thing about, let me go before Yah and see if I might atone for your sin. And Moses returns in verse 31 and says to Yahweh, oh, these people have sinned a great sin, have made themselves a mighty one of gold. And now if you would forgive their sin, but if not, please blot me out. I take responsibility. If you are going to deal with people, you need to know that they are going to mess up and mess up big, and you bear some of that burden. I'm telling you up front, before you get started, they are going to mess this up if you're in charge, and no matter how perfect you think you're going to be as a leader, they are going to mess it up. All of you who thought, oh, not my children won't behave badly, really, wait till your children show you just how wrong you can be. Now, hopefully they don't do anything too awful. But that's what you're going to learn when you're a parent. Some of them will be better than others, but you know what? They're going to think for themselves, and that's a hard thing. Okay? Raymond says that everything that happens under my care and on my watch is my responsibility. It's just how it is. And so, are you ready for that? You know, a lot of people think, oh, I want to be in leadership. Because they see power. They see people think they're wonderful. Let me tell you something. For every one person that thinks I'm wonderful, that says I'm wonderful, like 5 people thinking I'm the world's whatever, worst something and is kicking me. Don't just buy into all the hype. Leadership is 9 to 5. Yeah, it's from 9 p.m. to the next day, 5 p.m., leaving you just a couple hours to eat dinner. How's that? Okay? Leadership is taking blame for when things go wrong and giving praise when it goes well. Exactly. Okay? So just realize some of those things, and we see Moses is very, very, very good at setting an example of what a leader should look like. I think that's going to cover it. I know there's more stuff on the screen. It's 5 minutes to 10. I'm going to ask everyone to please continue to keep me in prayer. I am using that CPAP now. I am having some chest pain issues, and I don't know what they're attributed to. It could be an adjustment to the CPAP, which is at such a high level. I've got it this, the pressure on it is almost as high as it can go. And actually, it is as high as this machine can go. And I'm maxing that out every night. So please keep that in prayer. Not feeling my best, tired often, not my usual self. Pray for Julie. She worries about me. But I'll be fine, I'm sure. But I'm just going through something a little rough here a little bit. But I'm praise God, I got through the study, was able to hopefully share some things that were helpful to all of you in some way. All right. So let's go ahead and get one of the guys to come up and close us in prayer. I will be going for a sleep study on, well, I will find out about the machine being right or wrong on Wednesday night when I go for a sleep study, and they're going to test me to see what they need to do. The machine is working because the higher the pressure is gone, the more it's been effective. In other words, the less episodes of not breathing I've had. Okay? And so, it is working. It just isn't strong enough to actually work all the way. Okay, James, FYI, I've used the CPAP for 15 years, never heard of what you're going through. Okay, James, do you know what pressure setting your machine is on? Okay, because I'm using a ResMed, originally 10. Yeah, mine is set at 20 right now, and it's not high enough. So that's, if it was still, they started me at 5 to 15. I maxed that out, then they raised it to 18. I maxed that out, and then now it's at 20. So it's twice the pressure, okay? I have the same machine as Rabbi Tom, and he sets his at 3. His is set at a 3. Mine is set at a 20. So that's not good. So it's not like, hey, I'm bragging, mine's at a 20. No, this is bad, okay? It's not good. Raymond says, our Nasi has had so many years of dealing with the strongest stuff that this CPAP is too weak for him. Appreciate the humor. For those of you that are not familiar, the term Nasi means like presiding elder or president of the group.
Father in heaven, we just come before you at the close of the study. We just want to recognize you, Father, as our creator and provider of all our needs, Father. We just want to thank you that we could gather together here, Father, and learn from your word. Just want to lift up Rabbi Steve and his family, Father, and give Rabbi Steve the strength he needs, the restoration to health, Father, that he can continue on serving you and serving us, Father. We just want to thank you very much for him. We just ask you to be with us throughout the week now, and just ask your blessing, Father, and just give you thanks for all in your Son's name, Yeshua. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, thank you, Arthur. Someone said something about trying a larger mask. Now, I went into to see the doctor, and I went into the company that I got the mask and everything from. I have the right mask, and it is working correctly. They gave me a printout. I'm not having very many. I thought I was having some leakage problems. Apparently, not very much percentage-wise compared to the average person using a mask. So it's working well. I mean, I am sleeping fairly well with it. It's not bothering me when I sleep. I'm just really still waking up very tired. Okay, waking up really, really tired, and I'm getting more tired during the day. I'm not even actually staying up as late as usual, although I am still getting off until as late as 2 or 2:30. But I mean, I've been going to bed even before 12, which I almost never used to do, and I'm getting up like at 9 or 8:30. So this is big change. Okay, CPAP means can't please all people. There you go. Okay, let's go ahead and give I'll do a little wave goodbye. I was going to mess with everybody and change shirts to a different color just to confuse you, but I didn't. Just being silly. Okay. Those of you that wanted to call me, let me just, when I turn off the camera, I'll address everybody that was wanting to call. All right? All right. Blessings, everyone. Shalom. We love you. We appreciate you very much. Enjoyed the study. I hope it was a blessing. I'll finish waving here. Okay, now. All right, Candace. Okay, who wanted to call? Candace and Olivia, is that correct? Okay, Rabbi Tom says, thank you, Rabbi, for an A1 study tonight. You're welcome. Got a lot of other people appreciating all the readers and all the people that participated. Okay, I'll give, Chuck, I thought I did give Marty your number. Marty actually can access you through Marco Polo, but I think I gave him your number, but I will give him your number. I'm pretty sure I did give it to him, though. I'll remind him to call you. Okay? All right, so Olivier, you have my number, the cell phone. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me do something here. I don't know how to do this. Well, I guess I do. Hold on. What? Robert? Oh, yeah, Marty has it. Okay. Hold on, I lost the study. Now I got to find the screen back to where the study was. Oops. Well, where'd the study go? Well, there we go. Okay. Nothing on my screen. I couldn't find where it was. Okay. So, those who want to call me, I did unforward the phone, so you can call me at this number. Okay, I've got that. That's our old phone number. Okay, the 423-825-4975. It's not forwarded at the moment, so it'll go to me. And so let's start off with Candace. Call that number after I close the study. Who else said they had wanted to? Dominique? Oh, no, who was it? No, Jonathan. Okay, so let's see. Jonathan, you're in California, so you can wait a little bit. All right, everybody stop typing for a minute. Just those that are wanting to call, just go ahead and put an 8. So I kind of just can see who wanted to call, and I can kind of put you in a certain order. Okay. And James says back when he started, the pressure only went to 10. Okay, can any of you call tomorrow during the, well, I'm going to be hard to reach tomorrow during the day. Let's just try and get this done tonight. Okay, so, and Pat, you can call me, during the day. I'll be available in the afternoon. I've got some things going on in the morning, but I'll be available after 1. Okay, Olivia and Janet, you need only 5 minutes. Okay, so you know what? Let you guys call first, and then Candace, wait about 15 minutes, and then call after we close the study, and that will be good. And then, Kevin, if you could try anytime during the day when you've got time, or another evening, that would be good. That should really cover it. All right? Did I miss anybody? Oh, and Jonathan. Jonathan, give me about 45 minutes and then call. Okay, my wife wants my attention, so she put an 8. That was very funny. I like that. Okay, everybody, all your calls are canceled. The wife wants to spend time with me. No, okay, so let's do it that way. Okay, so first, Olivier, and we'll take care of you quickly, then Candace right after that. And then Jonathan, just give us a little bit more time and call after that. Okay? And then that should work. Okay, so let's go ahead and shut this down. I'm going to put a quick countdown here. All right, let's see. When that gets down to 0, Christine says I'm a good hubby. I try. Okay, so when that gets down to 0, we'll go ahead and close the room. Thank you. My wife thinks I am too. That's the most important. Okay, thank you for the good night sleep wishes. I sleep actually okay. I mean, I fall asleep and I get a good 7 or 8 hours of sleep, but it's not good sleep. I don't feel rested, and it doesn't really work that way. So, all right, I'm putting a 3, but I'm not confused or unsure of where I'm going here. We'll get to a 2. Because it is after 10. We do have some people that are needing to call, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this down here. Everybody, you're welcome for the teaching. Hopefully it was helpful. Main engine's ignition. Okay, so he's doing the countdown as if we are at NASA headquarters here, ground control. All right, there we go. I'm going to close the room there. Laila Tov, Shavua Tov. See everyone hopefully on Shabbat. Okay, Olivier and Janet, go ahead and give me a call first, and then Candace after that. Have a great night. Shalom.